And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester. With me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, it is Sunday, February 25th. As we record this, Elimination Chamber is in the rear-view mirror, and out in front is WrestleMania. There is so much happening in the world of pro wrestling because between now and then, pretty big AEW events coming up. How you doing?
That's what I hear. So much going on, Brad. I am excited for all of it. Things are going well. The semester is so busy, which I'm sure you can relate to. I can confirm during our production meeting, I heard about what you've been up to. But no, man, feeling really blessed, of course. Things are good. Wrestling is great. No complaints. How about you?
Yeah, to your point, somebody said that, I can't, I'm so busy. I have these two things I'm doing right now. When I tell you I stared at them in the hallway, I'm not going to name names.
Oh no,
I'm not going to name names. I just stared at them.
Did they catch the stare?
No, absolutely not. Okay. There's just so much going on. I have this thing to do and I have my job. And I was like, wow. Yeah, it sounds like a lot. I was ready to fight. I was ready to fight. I needed this break for those of you that are not from Arizona, specifically the Tucson area. You don't know about rodeo break. Now, I grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and we had deer days, literally what it was called, where we would have 2 days off for the opening of deer hunting season because nobody would be there. Not a single soul would be around because everybody was going to camp, except for us. We just have days off, which was awesome. Here, I tell people that, and they're like, "That's crazy." I'm like, "We have days off, so cowboys can rope bulls. Like, let's not be throwing stones in glass houses, please." But I'm glad we had rodeo break. Did I work during rodeo break? Yes, I did. But it was a good time. I needed the time off. I needed the rest. But it's like one of those break things. It's kind of like, Tyler, watching your favorite show, binging it, and then having it be over, and you don't really know what to do, and you just anticipate the next thing is not going to live up to those expectations. My break is almost over, and that's kind of how I'm feeling today.
Wow, that's a great analogy, man. You know, I haven't enjoyed a rodeo break in a minute. It's not a thing up here in the greater Phoenix area. I didn't learn about it till I was working at Flowing Wells High School. But yeah, man, that is a very relatable, accurate description. At least you got spring break right around the corner. I know there's several weeks until then, but that's a proper universal week-long time for you to rejuvenate. I know you have a show before then. So as our listeners and viewers know, the man doesn't stop. Brad is always got his hands in something, whether it's theater related, GI related, school. I think we bury the lead. You are still in school. I can confirm.
Yes.
And you're doing great things there, man. So I'm so proud of you.
I appreciate that, but I'm tired. I was telling you about this. I'm in a rough state, but one thing that is not in a rough state is 19 Media. So let's get into it's time for the state of 19 Media.
Late breaking news from the world of 19 Media.
Join Carmen and Jessica of Small Town USA for their latest episode, The Town That Spit Fire and Saved the Matches. They discuss many of the lesser-known people and important events throughout Black history, including those who also fought for disability rights.
Yeah, I love those two. And do you love fantasy golf? The Mojo King, 19 Media co-founder, always drops knowledge on his show, Hidden Gems Golf. Check out the latest installment to hear his thoughts on the Mexico Open. Be sure to subscribe to hear his insight before the next big match.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't even know there was a Mexico Open.
Neither did I.
It's breaking news.
Mo.
To the
Shout
world
out
of GI.
to Mo
Yes.
for educating us,
Yes.
us uncultured swine over here.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely true. Desmond broke down the latest in the worlds of hip hop and hoops in the latest episode of Hip to the Games. Check out the latest offering to hear his takes on Killer Mike's Grammy sweep, NBA trade deadline winners, and if the Golden State Warriors are legitimate playoff contenders.
Yeah,
Clay had a game recently.
Yeah, Clay.
He was down, and then suddenly he's dropping like 36, I think.
Right, and kind of coming to grips with his, player mortality. Right?
Yeah.
He's at a different stage in his career, but on any given night, he can still put in buckets, like you said, Brad. All I know is shout out to Dez as well. He is now on YouTube. The show,
let's go.
Yeah, the show's on YouTube as well. So shout out to you, Dez. We know that is no easy feat whatsoever to move to a YouTube-based show. So big shout out to him, for sure. But obviously, we have other members to spotlight here, Brad. There's never a dull moment in Lakerland. Join Ricky, Kwame, and Omar of Late Night Lake Show to hear their thoughts on the latest news surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers. As a matter of fact, as we record this, the Lakers are playing here at the Footprint Center. I have no idea how that game is going, but I hope their team gets demolished by our beloved Phoenix Suns, respectively.
I doubt there'll be a fight in the tunnel. Speaking of the association, Warren and Cal of the Baseline NBA podcast talked all things All-Star Weekend on their latest episode. Join the duo each week as they discuss the latest headlines around the league. I want to get your thoughts later on. I want to get your thoughts about All-Star Weekend, Tyler.
Oh, that's a deal. We can definitely do that. I have thoughts that I would love to share. Not many are positive, but yeah,
that's why I want them.
Yeah, of course. We'll get into it. Make sure better content. While we're speaking of hardworking individuals, we gotta mention Warren Shaw. A big shout out from GI to him for the work he's doing over at Dope Interviews. He interviews notable figures in the world of entertainment and sports. Check out the great conversations today.
Yeah, shout out to Gerald Brown, host of Heavy in the Paint. Gerald, welcome your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, Sky Zoo, to discuss the current state of hip-hop and the New York Knicks' second half surge. Tune in.
Finally, much love to Mike Steff, multi-time GI guest and fellow podcast host. Check out his shows, yes, plural. Mike co-hosts Hidden Gems Football with Mo as they tackle the betting odds for every NFL game. So obviously they're heading into their off season, literally and figuratively for the show. But that's not all. Check out his solo show, The Salty Thoughts of Mike Steff, for passionate commentary on the latest news in sports, pro wrestling, and New York politics.
Man, there's a lot, man. There's a lot of things going on in 19. I keep thinking about how many shows we have and how much we offer. And, we have off seasons, but there's never an off season for podcasting.
No, there is not, Brad. And speaking of seasons, this is our last weekly GI of February somehow, which means we are that much closer to March, which means hopefully wherever you're listening to us from, great weather is in your near future. So you're going to want to spend time outside, and we have someone who can help you with that. Check out our latest sponsor, Graham Patio, to ensure you're all set for the great weather and the great memories that await this spring. For over 20 years, Grand Patio has partnered with renowned designers to create collections that are equal parts luxurious and livable. The kind that can transform your backyard into a personal oasis. Their products include umbrellas, recliners, gazebos, sectionals, and much more. Visit our affiliate link, grandpatio.sjv.io/GIPod. Once again, that's grandpatio.sjv.io/GIPod to shop their collection today.
Tyler, Elimination Chamber was this weekend. Rhea Ripley got to have the hometown pop, as it were. Great homecoming from Mami. It was really cool to see her with her family. I'm sure we're going to be discussing some Elimination Chamber. So go ahead and hit me with your WWE question.
You know me so well. That's exactly what we're going to be discussing. Over 50,000 Australian fans were in attendance for Elimination Chamber over the weekend. The chamber matches were very predictable, as Becky Lynch and Drew McIntyre each walked out victorious. Not bad, by the way. predictable. I thought the women were amazing.
Incredible match.
Tiffany Stratton,
Tiffany Stratton.
a star is born.
Say less.
And if I can say a little bit more, Brad, and give us some flowers, we talked about Tiffany Stratton last week. That was your question. So shout out to you. Shout out to everyone who tuned in with us last week, because we've been knowing that Tiffany is the real deal. And now I think she's undeniable. Great things, I'm sure, are ahead for her this year. And shout out to Drew McIntyre. You know, I'm a big fan of his, and he's going to get a Mania title match, which is awesome. But of course, I want to talk about the main event, more specifically, the woman who returned to her homeland and did the damn thing. Brad, you mentioned this. Rhea Ripley defeated Nia Jax, retaining her Women's World Championship. Cool moment post-match, celebrating with her parents and her sister, as you alluded to.
Mm-hmm.
You hold many titles, my friend. You're a husband, father, teacher, artist, scholar, and much more. You're also a bit of a Rhea Ripley historian. Big pop. Whenever she's in a prominent spot like this, I'm amazed at her star power and execution. My two-part question. How impressed are you with her ascension on the main roster since joining the Judgment Day? And describe the euphoria you felt at the end of Elimination Chamber.
So I was just talking to Jess about this because we were watching together. I shut it off because I knew there was going to be too much ass commentary in the living room. So I decided to just watch it on my own because I knew it was going to happen.
Can we unpack that? You knew Jess was not going to be here for it.
No, I didn't need to hear like the groaning and the ugh. Like I didn't need to hear it.
Jess, why are we hating like that? What? Can we let Brad let us?
It's like
I get it for Jess. I
totally
want to honor
get
that.
it.
I want to honor that. I'm not happy about it, but
I'm going to be honest with you. Like I know what that shot was all about, but all I could think is like, yeah, single leg crab would probably hurt a lot. But I already know what would be going on like in that living room during that conversation. So
and then the timeline, right? Of course, you knew logging on the timeline. Everyone's going to be. I'm not sure if the
everybody's just super thirsty about it, man. Like,
yes,
to me, my favorite era of Rhea is the Long Boys era of Rhea Ripley. I loved her in the Long Boys, the ones with the like the rips and the patches, and the chains and stuff.
Over current Rhea.
Over current Rhea, no. I just love that the gear, not her character. Forget
so that the focus could be on her exquisite.
I just thought it looked awesome.
Yeah,
like I just thought it looked awesome.
And there's less thirsty tweets on the time.
It made her look like a killer for some reason, and this makes her look like a killer, but like probably a scarier, more diabolical killer that is going to lure you in and then just murder you in your sleep. Kind of killer. I don't know. But the eye makeup, the hair, the everything she has going on now is great. But like nobody could tell me that those Long Boys and the kick with the pyro wasn't awesome. But like NXT Rhea is what I'm thinking, not main roster Rhea. Because what I was talking to Jess about was how I don't know, outside of the Judgment Day being thankfully, and I don't know what the timeline is for when she joined versus when Vince left. I know they were probably pretty close to each other. It was around Mania or maybe the Rumble. I really can't remember when. But I don't know that we would get this current iteration of Rhea Ripley if it weren't for that. She was pretty bad as a character because they were making her smile for no reason and they were making her do all this stuff. And it's like, just Tyler, we could go back into the archives and I know in there's me complaining and saying, just let her be a hoss. Let her just be a badass. She goes into the Judgment Day and guess what happens? Yeah, all of those things.
It's been brilliant. I think everyone in the Judgment Day has been a winner.
Emphasize their strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Dom is the most hated man in wrestling.
Yeah, it's incredible. Big winner.
It's awesome.
Big winner. Accentuate those positives. Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the article. There was an interview with him where he said like he just says yes and he's a team player and is willing to do whatever that will make him better. And by by all accounts, the dude just wants to grow and get better. So then they were like, you want to go to the PC because you skipped all that. He was like, hell yeah, let's go. Which explains some of that time that he spent there. It's because he wanted to be there because he knew he needed to get better with certain things. And I can't say enough about him, but we don't get him without Rhea. So all of what she's done has been remarkable. She's the best thing in Judgment Day. She's in my mind, the clear leader of Judgment Day. She's gone so far heel and been so incredible, and nobody cares anymore that she's supposed to be a bad guy, which is, not a lot of people do that. There's not a lot of people that I can think of that were like just so over at being a bad guy that they became the good guy. Stone Cold, MJF to an extent, CM Punk, like the anti who's come full circle on that, but there's just not a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm supposed to hate this guy and I love him. LA Knight, I guess, right? Like bad guy doing the stuff, and then eventually it just took off.
Right. I'm getting these like flickers of Max Dupree as well, which I've tried to forget, because Max Dupree was for sure a heel, but luckily, by the grace of the wrestling gods, they went back to LA Knight, and now he's one of the biggest stars in the company. Who doesn't win any significant matches, but one of the biggest stars in the company.
Yeah, huge star, never winning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's not facing Logan Paul at WrestleMania. I think that spots for Kevin Owens, and we love Kevin Owens, but I want good things for LA Knight. Things that are shiny and he can put around his.
Pretty sure they set that. I think the KO thing is over. I'm pretty sure they set that up for Randy. Because Randy,
that would make sense.
Randy RKO'd him,
hit him with the nut,
and then hit him with the Nux. So we're gonna
Randy
have to.
as U.S. champ. Okay.
Whatever.
I'm here for it.
Randy versus Logan Paul will be fun if that's what it is, or maybe they put him in a triple threat just so that he's been able to hold his own. Big Logan Paul fan. That's my hot take. Like, I can't say enough about how good he's been. He knows that he's hated by people. So he just leans into it. It's great. It's been great to watch. I'm here for it, man. Like, I'm here for the chaos. Mm-hmm. I can't sit here and say like people deserve second chances and then not give them one.
Yeah.
You don't have to. It's fine.
No, I don't. Yeah. But I can listen and nod. Rhea though, amazing. So it sounds like just lots of euphoria coming out of Marana, Arizona. Watching Elimination Chamber. Yeah. I think that was truly universal, Brad.
Much so I've turned into a ghost. I'm going to try to figure out my lighting here. I'm like literal glowing here. Why am I such a good Lord?
Well, I can fill in the airspace. I agree with everything you said. At some point, we should probably have a deep dive into the Judgment Day and how, like many factions and stables in the history of wrestling, it starts out lukewarm at best, but then either due to the talent or the creative or kind of a marriage of both, it ends up getting over and working and benefiting everyone involved in the group. The Judgment Day, I think, has been one of the biggest successes for WWE in recent years. I think all 4 members are bigger stars now than when they entered it. Damian Priest has the briefcase. I don't know what that's going to look like for him. Finn Balor is in a position of prominence consistently on TV. You brought out Dom, right? Great examples there. But I agree with you, man. Rhea for sure is the leader of the group, and I think has contributed to her teammates' success, namely Dom. There's no way Dom is as over and as successful without the Mami element, the merch, the persona. Rhea, I said it in my question to you, man. Like, every time she's put in a big spot, it's the presence, it's the in-ring work, it's the 50,000 people being behind her in terms of this weekend. To me, it's just like, who is the Mount Rushmore of WWE right now? Rhea's firmly there. It's Roman, it's Rhea, and then I would say probably Cody and Bianca.
Yeah,
with Seth trying to make his way in, but I think there's without a doubt that Rhea is. We spent so much time talking about the 4 horsewomen, and they were so iconic to the wrestling industry, and still are, by the way. They're all phenomenal. I think Rhea has now ascended to being on that level, if not maybe even being on that next tier in terms of just who is running the game right now. man, the conversation has to start with Rhea Ripley in all of women's wrestling, in my opinion.
Why do you think that Bailey's never in that conversation?
That's a great point.
Because Bailey won the Royal Rumble. Her character, her work has been incredible.
It has.
Nobody
It
talks
has.
about her at all. And I think it's crazy. Because even when you were going through the list, I was like, oh yeah, Bailey. When you brought up the horsewomen, and I was like, why don't we just discuss Bailey more? And I don't know what the element is that's missing there right now, because she's great. I don't think either one of us have anything negative to say here. It's
Absolutely
just,
not.
it's just baffling. It's baffling.
Yeah. Well, and I would say prior to this conversation, she hasn't really had a signature moment on the main roster in terms of a win, like a signature when she had the Hell in a Cell
not in front of people
with Sasha. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Sasha and Bailey carried that era along with Drew McIntyre.
God, that was so good.
It was so good.
Like when they were on screen, it was so
yeah.
Like,
but you're right.
At the table with Michael Cole and like
yes,
yeah.
Caveat. A signature win in front of fans.
Yeah.
She now has that after years and years of grinding. Right. And to your point, it's the last thing I'll say. I just hope that Io versus Bailey will cover the same amount of the poster as Becky versus Rhea, because Becky versus Rhea inherently to me feels like a much bigger deal.
Yeah.
But Io and Bailey, for the story, for how talented both women are, it should cover an equal amount of the poster. I hope they get their shine. I hope Bailey gets her flowers. You're right, man. We don't talk about Bailey enough. I'm guilty of it. I don't know why it is, but we should change that.
I think it's because she's feuding with this internal stable. The story is better than Rhea Becky, and they'll warm that up. But like that's the story going in for the women is Damage Control and Bailey, right? Like I can't think of anything else that would surpass that. That's an actual story and not a moment. Like Jade Bianca is the moment, but
where's Jade, by the way? Is that?
Are we just out there for big things?
So she just like AEW just screwed her over completely. She was not ready. She didn't learn which I don't believe. I'm being facetious, obviously. We got to have her in Philly, right? There's got to be a match.
It's crazy. So I don't know, man.
There's got to be more behind this.
I will.
They know they know she's that woman.
In terms of having a prominent spot, I do agree with you with Finn Balor, but I don't think he's better for this at all. He was facing Roman Reigns for the Universal title when the turnbuckle exploded because of an act of God.
Oh, God.
He was the first Universal champ. We had Demon Finn.
Yeah.
He was the Fiend's first opponent. Like he was all over the place in big spots. And now he's in a more prominent position in that he's on TV more. But I can't say that he's, for the last year or two, since he was feuding with Edge, he hasn't really had those big moments.
And he lost that match, I'm pretty sure, right? I think
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Edge one of the 27
match.
did. Yeah.
Yeah,
because they wrestled 150 times in a row, so it's hard to remember who fought who in that feud. Damian Priest, huge spot for him coming up. He's going to cash in. I wonder, man, have that man cash in on Cody. I want Cody to win, and then I want Priest to kill him. I think that would be the best. In Philly, I want the American Nightmare to happen. I want it to be an American Nightmare. Cody, with his last breath, steals the belt. 1, 2, 3 pin, gets his big moment. Damian Priest comes out, cashes in, and beats the shit out of Cody Rhodes, and gets like dragon breath heat on Monday. I think it would be incredible. If you want to get a guy to be a heel and heat him up quickly, that's the way to do it. Steal Cody's story entirely. I think it would be amazing because he finishes his story.
I'm just marinate this one. This is
the ending sucks to the story. That's what I want. I want him to finish it and have it be a crappy ending. I think it would be amazing. But the odds are it's going to be Damian Priest stealing it from Seth or Drew.
I would say that that is a higher level.
I don't think they can do that to Cody again. Like I don't think they can have him lose again. But that would be better to me than the other option, because then it's Damian Priest gets the second title. I want him to take Roman's title from Cody, and I think that would be amazing. Tyler, my question. Okay, So I'm not a big fan of the open air arena matches because 55,000 people sound sometimes smaller than 5,000 people. The voices just sort of get lost in the ether, and it sounds like you can pick up like a person in the crowd in the front row. However, Elimination Chamber was an absolute spectacle. I love the lighting there, the pyro there. The crowd looked awesome. Part of the reason I don't like it too is because they have like those big open walkway areas on the floor that make it look empty when it's like there's like 20,000 people down there. But then it looks empty just because of the wide open spaces. So I'm not a huge fan of those because then people were like, look at all the empty spots. Like 56,000 people showed up. Relax. So my question is pretty simple, because I'm basing this off of the well-respected IWC discourse. What did you think of the event? And did you like the pacing of the show, particularly regarding the amount of actual wrestling time on the card, since it was in the IWC discourse? But I think it was an hour and 50 minutes of actual wrestling time on the 4+ hour show.
More graps would be my preference. I'm usually not a big fan of talk shows being on a
PLE.
In this case, Grayson Waller. But
Grayson Waller.
The reasoning behind this one makes all the sense in the world. Number one, another hometown act, right? It had been like 7 years since WWE was in Australia, I believe. So Grayson Waller getting that pop from the crowd, I'm here for it. Cody and Seth's entrances seem so long. I guess it's because the walkway was just a behemoth, but those entrances each felt like 10 minutes to me. I'm not sure what they clocked out as, but Cody was signing autographs and, just being great. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be forever. So more grabs would have been nice, but I also think it was a completely justified decision to have the biggest non-in-ring segment, the Grayson Waller effect, on this show. Overall, huge win for the company. Elimination Chamber is usually slotted in that respectfully B level premium live event, maybe even like a C+ most years. Obviously, it's the whole aura around it are the Elimination Chamber matches, but no one's considering this a Big 4 or Big 5 show any year ever. So to sell 50,000 plus tickets, to make this a show that you can't miss. I don't know how many of us watched it live, Brad. I know you and I didn't, but we know some of our friends, some of our brethren on the East Coast did watch it live. I think it was like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. for them. More reasonable.
Yeah, I think it was 4. But I'm not sure when the actual show started, but I thought it was
there
4
was the
a.m.
pre-show gimmick. Yeah. So based on the tickets moved, based on the spectacle that this year's was, and just based on that anecdotal evidence that you and I have from our group chats, this was the first Elimination Chamber in a long time that had this type of publicity around it and conversation following the show, and largely positive, right? Not just conversation, not just tweets and posts, but largely positive about what came out of this show. And again, Rhea Ripley, two women main eventing a premium live event. I think that's the first time that's happened in WWE in quite some time, that 2 women actually main evented the show. It's hard to believe because, women are getting a lot of time in WWE and a lot of matches, which is amazing. And we want more of that. But the first time they were actually main eventing a PLE in quite some time. So they checked a lot of boxes for me as a fan, and just kind of digesting the discourse in the community. I think this was a major win by all accounts.
I completely agree with you. I'm trying to figure out like what the set reminded me of. I'm looking stuff up right now.
It gave me All in London vibes.
A little bit. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. But I also thought it reminded me of, it was a Mania, I think. Was the first Money in the Bank the one where Jericho did like the walls on the ladder?
That sounds right.
Because I'm pretty sure that was outside. Was it Tampa? Maybe. Because it gave me very much like those vibes, especially when the light was still outside. And I don't know, when I saw it, I was like, man, this looks familiar. This looks like an old Mania set. But that's how big it felt there. It was huge, right? Very much like All In, very, very, very big, very important, seeming big fight feel, right? I thought it was really cool. I actually didn't mind it. I think like the entrances and some of the other stuff was way too drawn out. Like get there faster. However, I'm fine with the talk show breaking stuff up and being sort of like, we just had 2 matches in a 4-match show. Let's break it up with the talk show and then have the other 2. That way we're not just
4 matches. You're right.
Yeah.
That's all there was on this card.
Yeah, there
and,
was
and
the-
Rumble historically this year was also really thin.
There was the women. What was the one after that? Was that the tag?
Yeah, I think so. Right there was the women's match.
Yeah, women's elimination chamber.
Right. Shout out to Becky, and I'm gonna have to look that up.
And then I think it was the tag team titles, right?
Yes, yeah, against New Catch Republic.
Yeah,
and then Waller, and
then Waller, and then the men's, and then Rhea and Nia,
and then Rhea and Nia main evented. I don't even have to look it up. You got it.
Yeah. So I didn't mind it like breaking that up. It made sense pacing wise why you would do that.
Totally.
But because we got to wait for the stupid chamber to get raised up, and then wait for 10 minutes, and then okay, now we're back. Let's watch them enter for 25 minutes. It's not WrestleMania. Go faster. Like, let's just move your ass and get to the ring.
You remember that ramp in LA?
Oh my gosh.
Last year, that raised ramp.
The one that was like curved. So it's like, oh, they're almost there, and then it rounds a corner and keeps going.
Yes.
Yeah. just absurd.
It's a spectacle. You used the correct word. That's WWE does that well. It's a true spectacle.
Well, they do deserve their flowers, but so do we. Tyler, it's time for another edition of A Rose from Tyler. So play the music.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
I'm really excited about this, Rose. Unfortunately, it was a tough week for Bachelor Nation, Brad. Lexi, fan favorite, and my final remaining top 3 pick, self-eliminated.
Oh.
Yeah, she gone. You may recall, I came here last week and shared that during her one-on-one with Joey, she opened up about her battle with endometriosis. After Joey shared that he doesn't want to have kids in the immediate future, Lexi decided that it was best for her to depart from the show. It was cordial. It broke our hearts. In my opinion, Lexi was the odds-on favorite. We're getting closer to hometowns, and I think Jen is emerging as a sneaky favorite to go all the way. Anyway, I connected with Lexi in part because she's 30. She's also one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. But 30. I turned 31 earlier this month, and all the good things I've heard about your 30s seem genuine. I just got here. I'm like the little Uzi Vert clip on social media. I just got here. I just started here, but it seems true about this era of life. You walk a little lighter. Your vision is more precise. It's far less chaotic than my 20s, at least. So here's my question for you. At what point in your life did you say to yourself, hey, I think I got this figured out? Or is it still a work in progress?
I had to pull a picture of this Lexi you were talking about. I'm going to say that it's still a work in progress. There's never been a point where, I mean, Tyler, I'm 41. I'm in school. We're what, 3 years deep into a podcast while I try to figure out my career future. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I think we're all a work in progress. I think things change over time. You know, we're married, but like being married is one thing. Being married with a kid is another thing. And then your kid gets older, and now you're married with a kid at a different age. And it's just always evolving. So I don't know that there's any time where you can actually say that, yep, got all of this. We were watching Big Bang Theory earlier today. Just background show stuff while we cleaned, folding towels. And one of them said, at what point did you feel like you were an adult? And it was, well, I don't know. I don't know that I've ever felt like an adult. Yeah, I've just been kind of pretending that I'm an adult. And it's so true. I never felt like there was a transition into adulthood where I'm just like, yes, today I feel like an adult. I do adult things. I have adult responsibilities, but I don't feel like an adult. So long answer long here. I think it's work in progress. I think it's always changing, always evolving.
That resonates. I agree with you. For all the reasons you said, it's interesting that art is so cool that, we watch it for entertainment, but there can be these little moments or these scenes or dialogue where it's like, oh man, that really hit me. And that kind of stuck with me. Your word stuck with me. I definitely agree about being a work in progress. I think what's cool so far about 30s is, to Lexi's point on Batch, you just know kind of what you want ideally.
Yeah.
I think personally, professionally, having that clarity of what you want and what you are willing to compromise on, what you're not willing to settle for, is really beautiful. So we can honor we're still a work in progress, but also like, man, I feel like I'm getting closer to the person I want to be, that feels authentic to who I want to be and who I am. So that's beautiful, man. Resonates. I agree with you on a lot of that.
Yeah, completely, man. Like, it's, to your point, I think I don't know yet still what the end goal looks like for me. I had a conversation with my professor and my advisor about, like, what are your goals for your future? What are your plans? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just kind of doing stuff right now. I just want to learn new things and try to help out in areas that I feel like need help. I don't have a long-term vision right now, but I do know what I'm not willing to do, and I know what I'm willing to do. And I'm only doing things that I know will bring me joy. And if it doesn't, I get it out of my life. And we all have things that obviously you can't all be joy. I can't be like, oh yeah, I got to clean my yard. It gives me joy. But it's different. I can go, yeah, I do want to do that, or no, I'm not doing that. And in my 30s are when it became very confident in those decisions. And now that I'm in my 40s, it's not only confident, it's defiant and a little bit grumpy, because everything hurts a little bit more.
I have no rebuttals to that. That's real life. Brad, it sounds like you maybe are more willing to start a revolution, as it
Ooh.
were. And we have a really significant AEW show this weekend. AEW Revolution, Greensboro, North Carolina.
Cannot wait.
I cannot wait either. I think it's time for us to talk AEW. Are you ready for my question?
Let's do it. Can't wait.
We have 9 announced matches as of this recording. I need an inaugural Face of the Revolution women's ladder match added, but that's neither here nor there.
Yes.
I was about to say I don't think it's going to happen, but if Julia Hart isn't going to defend on the show, that ladder match would be amazing and would be just 100% approval rating from the fan base. I hope it gets added, but I want to briefly touch on these matches. Nearly 70% of the card involved championships. Here's the list of those. 6 total. Sting and Darby versus the Young Bucks. Kingston versus Danielson. Tony versus Deanna. Cage versus Garcia. Orange versus Roddy. And of course, Joe v. Swerve v. Hangman. My question for you, my man. Over under 2.5 titles changing hands this Sunday in Greensboro.
Ooh. That's tough, man. Okay. I'm looking at.
You want to start at the top? Is it the time for Joe to drop it?
I'm looking at him now. I'm looking at Meat Madness and move him up.
Madness. Shout out to Wardlow for that promo. I was going to ask you about that.
Great. Yes, I have it in my notes.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Got excited.
Okay, so I think Garcia retains or wins, not retains.
Garcia gets crowned.
Yeah, I think so. I think he has to, and the only way that he wouldn't is if Edge turns on Garcia, or excuse me, Adam Copeland, and then joins forces with Christian Cage, which I don't see happening yet. I think for this last run, that championship would be kind of cool for Danielson to win. I don't know if it'll happen, but I think it should. Eddie doesn't need it. Eddie's so beloved, and he won the first one, and he's always going to have that. I think it would be cool for the story, especially that Danielson beat Eddie again. I think it would be cool to see what Eddie does from there. Unhinged Eddie with nothing to lose might be really fun. I think Orange Cassidy beats Roderick Strong, and I don't think Deonna Purrazzo's beating Toni Storm. It's going to be a great match, but I don't think Deonna has a chance. So that's 2.
That is 2.
I'm going to say under 2.5.
Really? Joe retains.
I think so.
Wow. Okay.
I think so. And if not, man, if not, then it needs to be Hangman, because Swerve needs to win in a one-on-one match against somebody. And I think Hangman pinning Joe or Swerve and going in heel, and Swerve beating him at, I don't know, Grand Slam or something, could be great. I would love to see that, because we need to see Swerve finally beat Hangman without, like, that's the story they've been telling for a year. It feels like
It's a great story.
It's got to be Swerve versus Hangman. So if Joe loses, it's got to be to Hangman, not to Swerve. I don't want to see that. I want to see Swerve win a singles match, or Swerve kills both of them in the ring and pins them both at the same time is the only acceptable alternative. And I don't see that happening either.
Wait, what was the Roman vibe from a few years ago? Smash them,
stack them.
Yeah. I mean, you called out the 2 that I believe are most likely: Daniel Garcia getting crowned and beating Christian Cage, and Bryan Danielson defeating Eddie Kingston. I agree with you on that. The only one that I'm on the fence about, I believe Joe is retaining, which if you would ask me this a month or 2 ago, what was not my mindset.
It's not time yet. He's
good. Been doing so well.
He's so good.
I don't want to see him lose, which is shocking.
Unless it's one-on-one with Swerve, then I'm good.
Right. I think Joe's gotta leave Greensboro as champ. 2 quick notes I want to highlight here. The one that I'm most on the fence about, that I'm wavering a little bit, is OC versus Roddy. Actually, Undisputed Kingdom has not been it for me. I believe in the talent of all the dudes in that group, but it's just not been it.
Yeah.
So I believe Wardlow needs to win the Meat Madness match. Perhaps we'll get into that shortly. And Roddy winning here to be the guy to dethrone Orange would be really huge. The guy who most recently dethroned Orange, I believe, was Mox, right? Did he ever beat OC and then OC got it back? Wasn't that the story? I might be tripping.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Because
maybe,
he was losing his mind and then
right. But OC ended up doing it. I think Mox won at oh my gosh, was it All Out? Right, that was the main event.
I think
Mox
so.
left Mox left OC just bruised and battered and so if Roddy win, long way of
when his fist was all messed up, right?
Yes,
his wrist or whatever.
Exactly. And OC obviously ended up getting it back, and we're all happy about that because we love freshly squeezed. But Roddy winning, a very convoluted way of me saying.
I think that was "I'm tired, Renee." I think that's where they gave
yes. Very convoluted way of me saying Roddy winning. Although I'm not saying he's on the level of Jon Moxley after this win on Sunday, but I think that would do wonders for him and for the group to really be taken seriously as a vicious heel act. All that being said, I hope OC wins. Maybe it's just the OC superfan in me, but I'm going to pick OC to win that. Final one, Sting and Darby against the Young Bucks. We're actually going to talk about Sting shortly and something really special that we have related to the icon. Yeah. But you've convinced me, a special guest, dare I say now becoming possibly a dear friend who we had on, also convinced me that Sting and Darby are leaving North Carolina victorious. I don't know what happens to the belts after that. If there's a tournament or Darby finds a new partner or what that looks like.
So. God, I hope it's a tournament.
But these are the 2 that have me on the fence of that 2.5 over under. I'm going to say Sting and Darby retain. And I'm going to pick OC to retain. So I agree with you. I'm picking those 2 titles to change hands. And surprisingly, we didn't even discuss this beforehand in the production meeting.
Not at all. Yeah.
But we're just really harmonious this week, Brad. I completely agree with you. Those are the 2 belts to switch for sure for me.
Yeah, the Roddy one is the one I'm on the fence about the most as well.
Would be a big win.
And I could see him doing the international stuff. It's not like he's a stranger to hop in the pond and fighting overseas. And I think he would be a great champion. It would legitimize that faction a little bit more. And I'm with you. So I don't know. I don't know. Coin toss, man. I'm not putting money on it. Absolutely not. Okay. So
don't blame me.
My question for you, Tyler, there are a lot of directions we could go here. Sammy's becoming a great hardcore wrestler. Hobbs continues to be a beast. Wardlow had a great promo. Samoa Joe was a great champion. AEW continues to honor legends. Shout out to RVD. Ric Flair seems to be maybe turning on Sting. And spoiler, kind of here for it. However, I wanted to ask you about Thunder Rosa. How have you felt about her return so far? And what do you hope for her outside of her joining certain fist-raising factions?
That's got to happen. I specifically made it a point to watch the Thunder Rosa match on Collision this week. I forgot the local talent she faced. It was a really unique name, but I made it a point to watch Thunder Rosa. I've obviously, big fan of hers. I remember her working the indie scene in Arizona, and for her to be on this level, obviously due to her hardworking talent, just amazing to see always. What do I want for her? She's in a really interesting spot. She's got to join Roosh and the guys. That has to be the move. I would love for her to turn heel. That's number one.
Yeah,
what I want. I think
I'm
she's
with you.
best. I think she's best as a heel, and I want her in the title picture. Now, I believe that the route for her is going to be the TBS championship. I think she could really help make that title. I know you and I spoke, I think as recently as last week, about how the TBS belt's been positioned as more of a, we're going to make someone new, like really solidify their star power. It was Jade's belt forever. It's Julia's now. It was Chris Statlander's, right? Like this is that first, like, yo, this woman is legit. She's a star in this company. She's got gold. So Thunder Rosa's already been world champ.
Yeah.
However, with Mercedes coming in March, I think Mercedes is going for presumably Timeless Tony Storm. I think if Thunder Rosa really locked in on that TBS title as a heel, that would be super fun. Then we could even get some LFI versus House of Black, perhaps revisiting that. I think that would be the way to go. Some faction warfare, and ultimately Thunder getting the title again. I think she's great. I don't want her to get lost in the shuffle because she's been wrestling so infrequently on Collision that this win over the weekend, my desire would be that that's a launching pad for her to really get something going with Roosh, hopefully with TBS Gold. I want her to be heel, and I want her to be used more consistently.
So I looked it up. She wrestled Lady Bird Monroe.
Bird Monroe. How could I forget?
And Lady Bird Monroe is based out of, according to her X bio or Twitter bio, is based out of Austin, Texas. So they might have a history with each other. Just given where I don't know
some Mission Pro maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure what TASW is. I have no idea which promotion that is, but she's the women's champion over there, and so some other things on her bona fides. Pretty cool that she got to do that. Pretty cool that she got that spot.
Big time.
One thing that I thought when she was holding her fist up at the end of that match is she looked like somebody that had a sore back holding up her fist. Yeah, I'm just hoping that she's completely healthy. I know she left with a back injury. It's why she had to relinquish her title, and she left with that back injury. And I just feel so bad for her because there's no other kind of pain than spinal back pain. It's just the worst. It's debilitating. So if she's out there hobbled, I just want her to be healthy and not put herself in a position where she's going to be injured and have to cut her career short early, because her career isn't exactly short. She's been wrestling for a long time. We just haven't seen her do it in a prominent public forum like on AEW. So really interesting with that. I'm with you, man. Like heel Thunder Rosa, just beating the ever living crap out of people. Give it to me. Like, just give it to me. That match with her and Mercedes is going to be, it's going to be a AEW all-timer, I think.
Yes.
Because they both shotgun drop kick each other. Like they kick people like just as hard as they can. And that's just,
it's snug.
Yeah. They just kick people. So I can't wait for that.
Yeah. And well, speaking of snug, a quick note about Collision in the women's division. Serena Deeb, the professor, also someone who's back and who has declared that, who in the flag, and she's also someone who's declared that she means business, and she's, in her words, she's putting the wrestling back in all elite wrestling. So not that she needs a title, but that's also a woman who could hold gold and really elevate say a TBS championship.
I want to bring it back, the challenge, the 5-minute challenge or whatever was so good.
It's great, man. It's
Yeah.
great. But I love what you said about the injury component, because I think sometimes as fans, we get really in our feelings about wrestlers not being used consistently, which is a fair criticism if we're not seeing the people that we want to see. But we don't know the behind the scenes of the injuries, the personal. I think that's a really important point that you brought up, that maybe we're not seeing people sometimes because they're not healthy and we don't want them to rush back.
Yeah, man. There's so much stuff like Miro in the Meat Men match, the Meat Madness match, whatever we're calling it. I think we want this, but I also know that his wife has been going through that staph infection scare, and I have absolutely no idea what's going on there because we haven't seen her in a while. There's a lot of stuff happening, and we don't know what these people's lives are, their contract status, their injury status, any of this stuff. Hopefully everybody's good, and we don't need to know everything. Okay, Tyler, I do want to know some things. I want to solve a mystery here, and this week we're going to dig a little deeper. So play the music. Okay, so I'll try to keep this one brief. The money pit. They're at the bottom of this garden shaft. They broke through the floor and hit wood below it, and they're like, this is the tunnel that leads to the money pit. They finally are on top of answers. It looks like they've never been closer. They dug in the swamp, found this massive boulder with part of the boulder dug out of it. It had to have been placed there. And there's this kind of monolithic feature on the island with these huge stones that are placed out that create a giant cross across the island that was discovered by a guy named Fred Nolan. It's known as Nolan's Cross. And they found another random stone and realized if you draw a line between this stone, the other stone, there are actually these two other stones in between that have bored out parts of them that were probably markers to get a straight line. And if you keep going, it draws a straight line right to the money pit. So they keep finding all of these things. They still have no idea who put these there, who put the stuff there, why. They found an ancient boot heel that was dated to the late 1600s, maybe early 1700s. Absolutely crazy, all the stuff they keep finding. Everything is nuts. We're so close. So my question for you, Tyler, when you can see the finish line, when you are completing something right before the end of a stressful period, shout out spring break, how do you feel about your commitment to everyday tasks?
Wow. It wavers near the end. For me, I don't know that I'm the strongest multitasker. When I have something really important, really stressful, I sort of lock in on, I have to get this done. I can't manage other tasks always. Like especially if I'm close to the finish line,
right?
I need to make sure words are spelled correctly. What's the cliche, total cliche, dot our I's, cross our T's.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I get tunnel vision is where I'm going with this. So I find that I sort of block out other responsibilities in the immediate future because I just am so focused on getting this thing done because I know it's important, and my bandwidth is increasingly shrinking, I guess, with age and new season. So I just get a lot of tunnel vision. Is it the same for you, or are you able? I think you don't really have a choice. You have to multitask and do a lot at the same time. It's
pretty similar. Yeah, I sort of go like, well, that those dishes aren't getting done, or the laundry's not getting done, or I guess I'm not sending that email, or oh crap, I missed that meeting because I forgot it existed because this other stuff's more important. I lock in on one thing. I hyper focus on the one thing that feels like the biggest at the moment. And sometimes the way of my cope is that thing that's causing me the most stress is too big. So let me hyper focus on this other thing where I feel like I'm accomplishing stuff, but it's not for my immediate well-being. It's just I'm accomplishing stuff. And that makes it more stressful. So I'm really bad at managing like what to focus on instead of how to focus. Very good at that if I need to get it done. I'm really bad at figuring out which thing to look at. So it's like, oh man, like there's this tidal wave coming in and it's going to wipe out our street and our house and our cars. First thing to do, pack. No, it should just be get the hell out of there. Like not pack. So I just, I'm really bad at deciding what the thing is to do. So really that's where it is before a period of high stress.
That's funny. I hope no future employer heard my answer. I feel like you always say you can multitask. Yeah. Sticky notes, alarm reminders.
It's actually impossible. So any future employers for either of us listening to this, multitasking is not possible. Unitasking is doing multiple tasks at different times, all out in front of you at the same time is not multitasking. That's just jumping from task to task to task. Our brain can do one thing at a time. That's why you can't text and drive. You can try, you could say you can, you're a liar. The end. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Wow.
Cheers, employers.
That's tough. What did we miss from the week, Brad?
So much stuff. Number one, we missed discourse about another time limit draw. Not a fan in AEW. Use them sparingly. Too many too soon. We did not get to talk about Malachi Black having his first singles match in like 2 years against Brian Keith. Also, that spinning heel kick, that black mass at the end after the beatdown when Mark Briscoe showed up, like that made contact. That made some real contact. And then shout out to Mustafa Ali for winning his first major promotion gold, I think ever. I think he said 20 years of doing stuff.
Can you believe that? The grind is real.
Yeah, it's bonkers, man. Pretty incredible. I know you have thoughts about that, and I know you have thoughts about other things that in What Did We Miss?
Definitely. Loving Mustafa Ali getting his moment, again, getting his flowers. We're so big on that here. Also, I love that MK Ultra regained the tag team championships.
Yeah, that was cool.
I think you and I recently discovered Killer Kelly. We've known that she exists, but she is phenomenal, as is Masha Slamovich. And we know this is a really pivotal year for Impact Wrestling. Mm-hmm. I didn't get to watch No Surrender, but I saw the clips online, and it seems like they had another really successful show. My two notes about What Did We Miss? Ashe BHM occurred in North Carolina, actually. Really, really fun show. Darius Lockhart won his return match in the main event. They also announced the next show will be April 19th. So stay tuned for details on that. You know we got you. And then finally, Brad, it's a big week for us at GI. We have a 4-part series dedicated to the icon Sting. We were joined by the one and only Fightful's very own Rob Wilkins. I'm so proud of that series that we had with Rob, Brad. I know we're releasing it to the masses this week. It was just incredible. We talked about Sting's days in Jim Crockett, easy for me to say, promotions, some WCW talk, some TNA, some WWE, and of course, Sting's run in AEW. So we know this is a big weekend. His last match is Sunday. I'm getting emotional now just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
I hope you all tune into our conversation with Rob. Please follow Rob as well. Show him love. Check out what he had to say. Some really thoughtful commentary. And we hope you're able to listen and or watch it this week. I think that's all, Brad. Fun episode, fun week. You can find our articles on wrestling, pop culture, and more by visiting gimmickinfringementpod.com. You can also follow us on X and IG at GIPod19. We're on Facebook as well. Check us out by searching Gimmick Infringement. We thank you so much for being here, and we hope you join us again for the next edition of GI. Gimmick Infringement is part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.